Howdy, wild cards! Welcome to another final hour live stream for a Pinnacle Entertainment Group Kickstarter. This time it's Deadlands, Abominable Northwest, and more. We are in the final hour, and over 2,000 of you have joined us on the campaign. I will throw that link in the chat right now for any last-minute backers. Luckily for you folks, if you're watching this later, we will have late pledges on Kickstarter before we open up the Pledge Manager with Backer Kit. But that is something we're doing this campaign, so congratulations. You didn't really miss out, although, hey, you missed out on the actual fun of doing a live campaign. But if you can, click on that link below if you have not over $200,000 from 2,049 backers, and it's just a little under an hour ago. So thank you all for joining us on this wild ride to the Pacific Northwest so far. And we've got a whole cast of characters joining this live stream tonight. So let's start with the two fellas who had the most work on this campaign so far. Jody's my job to come later, but the Mr. Shane Hensley and Mr. Brian Reeves. Welcome to the stream, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So tell us, the Abominable Northwest. We've got a native, a local from the area, and Shane, you got to visit. So we'll give owner and CEO first crack at it. You actually did a whole box set for this campaign, the Carnage and the Cascades, and did some actual hands-on research to go there and grab some information and some moods, some settings. So tell us about your trip. Oh wait! I'm sorry. I promise. Before that, there's a really great question that was asked. This is Deadlands, the Weird West. It is all for Suede. And where are we in the greater Deadlands journey, of what we're publishing, all that stuff? So start there and then get into your amazing trip to the Northwest.
Okay. So from the beginning with Deadlands, we had this huge story to tell about the servitors and the reckoners and all that kind of stuff. And we told the story of the four capital S servitors: Ravenstone, Grim, and Ravenstone, Grim, and Hellstrom. Let me start over. In the four servitor plot point books, right? And those were big epic campaigns that took people months and months to play, and they did so, and we got all kinds of great war reports from those stories. They were a lot of fun to listen to and hear people talk about them. But we also wanted to move away a little bit from the Save the World style campaign and get back to kind of the local horror where the game really began. Right, so the creepy Jenkins place at the end of the street. Now, what's cool about the world of Deadlands is every little place ties in to the fear level in your region, and the fear level of the region ties into the territory, the state, the nation, the world, right, as the Reckoners terraform the earth. So our focus right now, we did it with Horror at Headstone Hill. We're doing it with Carnage into Cascades. These are a little smaller, more local, more focused kinds of events. We're not going to advance the timeline for a while. It's 1884 in the Weird West right now, and that's where it's going to stay for quite a while. So with Carnage in the Cascades, let me see if I can share my screen, if we have those permissions up. Yeah. So I'll briefly do a little spoiler here. But so as Chris mentioned, I've been to Seattle quite a few times. I'd never gone out into the county and really poked around and looked for Sasquatch myself. So I did this trip, and it's so great. Always, I'm a historian by trade, right? That was one of my my majors in college, and I've read about how big the logs were, for example, in the Cascades. But when you stand in front of the statue, you can see there that's in Enumclaw, Washington, and you see just how big those logs really are, and how intimidating they would have been to cut and haul and drag down from the mountains. It is, it's pretty spectacular. I got to go through the Historical Society and look at artifacts from the era. So these are all primary accounts from the people who settled out in the county. So the game starts in Seattle, and I think we all know a lot of Seattle history. It's very well documented, and I've been there quite a few times. I've done the Seattle Underground. I've toured a lot of places there, but again, hadn't been out in the county much. So being able to go to the Historical Society, look at the bookstores, look at the artifacts of the people who settled the area, look at just how primeval the land was when they got there, was fantastic. and also being able to look at some of the Native American artifacts that were there and realize, what were they like during this transition from, this primeval forest that they lived in and they had mastered to, oh my gosh, here come all these Europeans. And I'll say whites sometimes, but it's not even just whites, right? There were tons of Japanese and Chinese and people from all over the world were coming to Seattle because it was a boom town, just like all the other boom towns of the West. It just wasn't gold primarily. It was farming. There was a lot of hops farming going on, which is used in beer. There was coal up in the mountains. And then, of course, the timber industry was just huge, right? So getting to see all that firsthand and hear some of the stories, like where did the term Skid Row come from? Well, it comes from the Yesler Furniture Factory. So Skid Row, they would slide these big logs down this muddy hill. And sometimes when they were feeling a little cruel, they might not tell the locals who didn't know the secret that these massive several ton logs were going to slide down the hill. That became a very bad place to be, and that's where the term Skid Row came from that we use throughout other cities. So lots of very cool information that we get from this area and this era, and that worked its way into the book. So again, I went out into the woods. I waded through some streams. I went skiing so I could get up into Sasquatch country. And we don't normally do this kind of design retrospective in the book, but I felt it really added something to this one, and people have asked me before, so I did it. And there it is, all in the shadow of Mount Rainier, of course. I don't want to spoil too much. But I think it was kind of fun to add here's where we met, here's the research we did. We are a historical fantasy, and we like to base it in history and then find all the cool, awesome, creepy stuff that we can work into it. Ryan did exactly that on Abominable Northwest, and it's just filled with amazing stuff. I mean, I grin every time I go through and I read something like that. What was I just looking at? The Harelnix, this grotesque, slimy snake with a human head that lives in Preston, Idaho. There's just so many great things, and I can't wait till you see the art. But there's so many great stories in this region, and being able to do the source book and the campaign box set all at the same time is not something we've been able to pull together before. So with Brian's help and this trip that I took, we did.
Nice. So, Brian, since you worked on the Splat book itself, the location book, why don't you give us a little bit of history about like what states are we covering in this campaign, and kind of what there's also a whole plot point campaign in the book itself. So give us a little hint on what we can find there, and then if either one of you want to talk about how the Morgana effect might be coming into play in the Deadlands universe. So
cool. Yeah, this book is going to cover Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. Sort of like the Cascadia region, so to speak, right? And I did a whole lot of research into the history, but also the supernatural stuff going on, like the cryptids and little weird rumors and stuff coming out of these areas, and tried to incorporate as much of that as I possibly could. Of course, all of it somewhat largely historically accurate, but through the lens of Deadlands, through that Weird West lens, right? Which means that in some cases, there's some strange, bizarre things happening that didn't happen in our timeline. And it's just chock full of locations, people, plots and subplots. And you mentioned a plot point campaign. It is more of a series of connected adventures, similar to what we did in Hell on the High Plains. And in fact, it was also written by Garrett Leahy, who has penned a whole lot of different things for Deadlands, including Crater Lake Chronicles, in fact. So there are a whole bunch of those adventures. That's not all of the Savage Tales. There are quite a few of them. I believe there are 30, 10 per state. But a good portion of them are interconnected and can be played almost like a plot point campaign if you want to go there.
Nice. And for those of you joining us for the first time on a campaign, Pinnacle's modus operandi is usually about a month after the campaign finishes, we will deliver PDFs. So the books are like 95% done. Just need some finishing touches, and we'll get your feedback on those before we send them to the printer. But the PDFs will be in your hands, so you guys can get a look, showing off some of the fun pages that are already done with all the cool art we got in there. And so this one is a really big campaign. So indulge me for a second while I play Mr. Marketer. It's a big 3-release campaign. We've got the Carnage in the Cascades box set, which comes with all the awesome props, amenities, and fun stuff that you want to show off. And we're going to get to the phobometer here in a second. I'll have Shane talk about that. And then we've got the Abominable Northwest book, which covers 3 states in the Pacific Northwest and all that's going on in the Deadlands timeline and universe. And then we're also throwing in the Rise of Black Circle graphic novel, which collects 2 previous comics that have been released, and the third in the set of 3, all bundled together in a hardback graphic novel, Rise of Black Circle. So you guys get to see the conclusion of that story, which features some of the kind of iconic characters from the Deadlands 9 novels. So as you can see, big 3 campaign. Here's what you get by being a backer for the $120 level. All that wonderful stuff in print. You got maps and archetype cards and pawns. And then there's a phobometer, which is pretty cool. We'll get to it in a second because that's really neat. We just put that up on the campaign page like yesterday. But we also, if this is your first time coming to Deadlands, the Granddaddy original Weird West setting, we've got a really cool level where you can get almost everything we've released for Deadlands. There's some stuff like we just released Night Train again. That campaign is just about to deliver to some people already. So we didn't throw that in here, but the $400 first rodeo comes with this whole slew of contents that can, this is years worth of play at your table or hours and hours of entertainment if you just want to read it, because it's actually pretty well written. So it's good to just read. But it comes with 6 of our map packs, everything from a saloon to Boot Hill to a train station to a boomtown, partners camp. We've got 4 sets of archetypes. So we cover just a veritable slew of characters, miscreants, heroes from the Weird West that you can easily turn into characters. You play the table very easily, or you can make them NPCs and throw them against your heroes. We have 8 map packs. I'm sorry, there's 2 new map packs because we've got the logging camp and the Salish village from the new box set. And then it comes with the Carnage and Caves box set, the Abominable Northwest book, the comic, the Weird West box set, which is just chock full of a lot of really good stuff. Pretty much everything you need to play. You also get a copy of the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition 5th printing, so the most recent updated version of the rules. And then similar to the Carnage and the Cascades box set, we've released one of these before called Horrid Headstone Hill. So that is also a pretty awesome box set that's got props inside, lets you run a plot point campaign and do all of the cool stuff like hand out newspaper clippings to your players. And very immersive, very cool. So all that good stuff is in the $400 first rodeo. It's well over $500 worth of material at retail, and we give you a pretty good discount and really good shipping because Jody's done some amazing work on shipping recently. So that's one. If you guys are just seeing this now, like, hey, what's Deadlands? I really love it. I want to get into it. This is the way to save a bunch of money on it. So Shane, final question to you before we kind of turn the tables on some of the other folks here. Tell us, what is the phobometer? What does it measure, and why is that an important thing in the Deadlands universe?
Okay, so right from the beginning of the Carnage and the Cascades campaign, an inventor comes to the agency and has this idea that they know fear energy exists, and they want a way to measure it, right? So we already measure it in the game. In game terms, we know how it works, but the people in the world don't. So this inventor, Dr. Eliza Crow, she's come up with the phobometer, and it almost works, but there's something missing, some key ingredient that takes quite a bit of work to get, it turns out, in the game. It is a hard-fought victory to get, but once you get that, you will have an accurate measure of the fear level in your game, which is kind of nice because then you can set it on the table and say, okay, it's fear level 4. These are the effects that we have, right? So we only have the art for it right now, but this will be a real prop that you hold in your hands. That slider will actually work. We may try to put, if it fits and doesn't look too ugly, we may try to put, the different rules for fear on the back of it. If not, we'll put them on a card or something so they're kind of handy so the players know, okay, fear level 4 has these effects, that kind of stuff. But I'm super excited to get the prototype for it and actually play. It'll be made out of heavy cardboard. It's handheld like that, and it is an in-game prop, right? The agency is going to have these things going forward, kind of like the Mnemonizer that we may have taken from Johnny Mnemonic. That helps them make people forget what they've seen sometimes, because the agency likes to keep the supernatural under wraps, right? They don't want people to know that all these things exist because that will increase fear and empower the reckoners.
Oh, nice. Great. Okay, so I said one question, but it'll be two. Tell us about the graphic novel. It's the third in the series. Who are these characters, and what's all the goodness that they can get in the Rise of the Black Circle?
Will do. Let me share my screen one last time. And I'll quickly flip through it. So when we first started Deadlands, we had our dime novels, right? So we had Ronan Lynch, Velvet Van Helter, and Bad Luck Betty McGrew. And I've been wanting to get back to them for a long time. So instead of redoing fiction dime novels, although we're working on fiction as well, we had this opportunity with Outland originally, but we brought it in-house to do a graphic novel of exactly what we wanted to do. So I'm going to flip through it real fast. Most people, as you can see, it's still in finalization here, but all the art's done. The comics themselves are done. This art is amazing. As you can see, it's by Aaron Paulsmeyer. He just did an incredible job. This is a new villain that our trio of heroes go up against. And this all takes place in Nacogdoches, which, if you know your Deadlands history, already had one zombie uprising a few years back. And that may be the reason that La Bruja, or the witch, is back. So you can see it's very colorful. It's very exciting. A lot of your favorite characters are in this. Lacey O'Malley. You might just happen to see Nevada Smith and Suitcase Lee, and some of these other guys make some appearances. And I think it's just terrific. So I wrote it, so not the writing part. You'll have to decide that for yourself. But I just think the art is amazing. The coloring is from it. Even the lettering is great. So I'm super proud of what Chuck Selner and the Outland guys pulled together on this. And issues 1 and 2 were kickstarted by Outland before we brought it back in-house. Some people got PDFs of number 3, but we wanted to put it all into a graphic novel, and there's actually an original story in there to, as I mentioned, to get back to some of the fiction that features Bad Luck Betty McGrew in a very personal, tough story that happens called Home. And throughout this too, you're going to find out it's a bit of a hint for something that's coming, but she keeps mentioning something that happened in Abilene between her and Ronan Lynch, something horrible. And that is lurking on the horizon as well. So we will finish these. I don't know what form they'll take. We'll see how this does. But it's done, it's ready, and I can't wait for people to read it.
And we put stats for all those characters in the book. So if you want to bring them into your actual Savage Worlds Deadlands campaign, you can bring them in too. So I think we even have a preview up on Drive Thru RPG. If you go to Drive Thru RPG right now, you can actually get a preview of some of the Betty art and see her stats. So
right, and we actually have some of the background for the characters that we've never had before too. So if you're fans of the old stuff and you want to know more about where exactly did Betty come from in Velvet and Ronan, this is the place to do it.
Awesome. So the folks, one final call for the Kickstarter. We got about a half an hour left, a little over half an hour left. The all-in print for all the above is only $120, and if you are new to Deadlands, you can get $540 of value for only $400. So all-in print and digital, $120. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I think Jody being here, I'm really excited. Jody's got some cool stuff sitting next to you, Jody. What can you show us? And I'm going to put 2 guys on screen right now, and we got some questions for them coming up. We might be a preview of our next Kickstarter, and if you recognize them, you might be able to figure out which campaign that's for. But I won't bring questions in the chat. We're out on the stage. We won't go to them right now. But 2 very handsome fellows are now on screen. It just might be a Rift thing. So you've got Rift's questions. Put them in the chat so we can get to them to Aaron and Sean after we have Jody show off what goodness, Jody. What's good?
I mean, I'm just going to show off a few of the things that have delivered recently. I don't have Night Train, unfortunately. I'd love to show off the Night Train stuff. Oh, good. Shane can show that off. But what I do have is the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition 20th anniversary with our beautiful foil cover here and the silver edges here. And of course, ribbons. Everybody loves the ribbons. So that is, people have just been raving about this. Simon is the one who really did the work on making this happen, and he deserves all the pats on the back. Tell him he did a good job on this, and then you can rant at him for any other reason. But for this, at least, we can say, good job, Simon. And then we have a bunch of other stuff from that Kickstarter. We don't have these things available for pre-order quite yet, but as soon as we're completely finished with fulfillment, we'll have extras available for people to order from the site. So keep an eye on our website, sign up for our newsletter. That way you'll know when it's released and when it's available for you to order from us. And yeah, people are getting theirs in the mail right now. If you have any issues with your order, of course, just reach out, info@peginc.com, and our wonderful customer service staff will take care of you. So I also wanted to show off, this is not being shipped out, but I just wanted to tease it a little bit. This is our retail cover for the Player's Book. So that's a special cover that you can pick up from retailers. So we're going to be sending that out for retailers to buy. Talk to your friendly local game store right now and tell them you want that collectible cover. And then we have all 5 of the other covers here. So I'll show off these covers real quick. Hopefully I'm getting them in the frame because I'm hiding myself and I can't see my own camera. But I love these covers. Oh my gosh, look at that art. Don't you just want to play like some kind of Savage does Shadowrun type setting there? Superpowers, of course. This is the one that Clint loves, you know. We've got all sorts of cool and evocative things here. Makes you want to think of some Ghost Mountain thing. This one is my favorite just because I think she's just so beautiful and it reminds me of my trip to Japan. So that's why I've got that cover on the, it's called a skin on the outside of the shoulder bag that you can use here. That was also part of the Kickstarter. And that cover came in a pack of alternate skins that you can get. So the bag actually comes with this cover so that you can rep your Savage Worlds Pride wild cards. Thank you. And then it has the other covers in there, which I have 2 of them here, but they're basically the other player covers and -1 because there was a bit of a miscommunication with the bag maker. So we're not going to have that other 5th cover. I'm sorry. But we do have an extra of the Savage Worlds cover. If it gets damaged, you've got it there. And that bag cover, the skin, it protects your bag from rain, makes it more, waterproof from drinks that are spilled at the game table, other stuff like that. So, and it's a swappable thing to make like your bag, dress it up. That's kind of cool. What else do we get? Okay, so
can we get the retail player's guide one more time? Because someone
asked nicely. Show it off.
That's
Cool?
That's so good. Red and Gabe and Tomb Raider-esque. Looks really good.
Yeah, I love that art.
I mean, I could tell a story about my kid right now, but I'm just not because I'm not that kind of parent. But I am that kind of parent. You stop me anytime, I'll tell you about Tomb Raider Trinity. So this is our collapsible dice tray that was also part of the 20th anniversary Kickstarter. It has the Savage Worlds logo in here and the magnets. It folds flat, so it can go in your bag. Super easy to carry, y'all. And then you can still use your dice bag or the shoulder bag for your dice. And then it assembles like in a snap. So, and these are magnets that hold it closed. So that's from our friends at Norse Foundry. They did a great job with that. That's just another cute little thing that we added so that people could enhance their gameplay. Let me get to that in a minute. We also have a pad of blank character sheets because we went all out on this Kickstarter. We have a lot of cool stuff. People have also been talking about the edge cards. So we have the Savage Worlds edge cards and the Fantasy Companion edge cards and the, hang on. Let's see if I can pick them all up here. And the Deadlands edge cards. So this is a whole lot of edge cards. When people are talking about the brick of edge cards, this isn't even all the edges we can make, y'all. So this is, but they're so I was talking to people this past weekend at GameholeCon about how convenient this is for new players who are trying to figure out what their archetype can do, especially because we put the short text on there, but this gives you all of the extra text to help you understand that. And then also, if you're trying to plan your advances, like figure out what you're going to do with your next advance, you've kind of got your stack of edge cards that you're going to say, hey, I want to do this next. And then when it's finally your advance, you're like, how can I choose? There's like 20 here. So that's your problem. But we gave you the cards to choose from. So Shane, did you want to say goodbye real quick?
Yeah, so I have to take off for the coolest reason ever. So my family and I are going down to Nightfall in Old Tucson to do a haunted, weird Western town. So if there was ever a good excuse for leaving a stream, for me, this is it. So adios, amigos. I'm off to hell.
Thanks, Shane.
Only Shane would say, bye, see you in hell, like that works. We all wish we were going with you, Shane. I have a few other things too. So we have these magnetized card boxes. So this is the one that we call the Savage Worlds box. And that, again, you're going to need a few of these to hold those edge cards. And people have been talking about this actually at Gamehole Con. They were like, if I knew that this had all this stuff in here, I would have bought way more of these. So we're calling this one the Player's Box. This is the same, magnetized card box setup. But in this, we have a bunch of player aids so that the idea behind this is that as a player, you can put your archetype card in here and then your dice, and you can use it as a dice tray and, all of the information that you need to keep your player information in one place. So as a player, you show up to the game and this is all you need, of course you're going to need more because we are gamers and we like to hoard our dice, but in the card box, you have this stand that assembles, and I'm not going to punch it out because this is my shipping copy that I have to weigh later, but it does assemble to be a card stand that you put your action card in facing the GM so that you can all see who's going when. You can always just lay your action card on the table in front of you, but this gives you a cool stand, and you can write your character's name and parry and toughness on there with a dry erase marker. It also comes with a character journal, so you can keep track of the highlights of your campaign, combat options, and situational rules. How many of us want something like that at the game table, right? Especially if you're a new player, to kind of give you an idea of some hints and stuff to do. A blank card to go with your archetype so that you can write your advances on it. It even says advances on it. And then finally, status cards. You can get, I think Clint just commented on there, it does work as a dice tray during the game. The status cards, this is one small pack, like a player copy of the status cards. Yeah, they're extra big, John Adams, so that you can read them easier, because I don't know about you, but I'm using my glasses too. We do have a box of status cards that we sold in the original Savage Worlds Adventure Edition Kickstarter. I use the heck out of those because I don't like keeping track of who has wounds. I'd rather toss a card that says wounded on them, that kind of thing. But this is something that a player can use to remind themselves, oh, I went on full defend this round, so I can keep track of that. Oh, one last thing. I was like, what else do I have around here? We have these oversized card sleeves so that these cards will fit in a sleeve for those of you who like to sleeve things. One quick note, if you are a person who are counting the sleeve cards that you need, just contact our customer service and we'll send you a replacement one, because the printer gave us a pack of 50 instead of 60 like we had planned. So for most people, that's not an issue because they're only going to sleeve a few cards. But for those of you who are really depending and had counted all of these cards, just email us. We'll send you an extra pack. I think that's everything from Savage Worlds. Oh, no, I can show you more of the bag, but trust me, there's pockets galore. It's fun. It's a shoulder bag. It's easy to carry.
We're going to have to do a bag demo and then also putting together the player card stand video for folks, because some folks are failing their repair rolls on putting those together. So one final Deadlands question before we get to the Rifts, folks, because we got a lot of exciting Rifts content. So Brian, yes. Where are we headed next? Cough, cough, Great Maze in the Deadlands universe, and tell us a little bit about what's up next.
Well, as you said, we're heading down to the Great Maze next. That book has been mainly written. I think there's just 2 or 3 areas that we still want to flesh out. So it does exist, and it's next in line, and I'm very excited to see that come into play.
Awesome. So the folks, mere 28 minutes left in the campaign. I'll pull up that link one more time for you guys to get over there. But we also have a cool new link, and the cool new link is to the upcoming Kickstarter for Riffs. So Shauna Robinson and Aaron Burkett, welcome to the team. Oh, and hey, before I get to you guys, since everyone needs time to plan, so we all hit GameholeCon this last weekend. It's as big as a staff, and like some people in my game, like John was in my game, and it was a lot of fun. So next year, we're going to Aaron's hometown. We are going to ChupacabraCon in style. There's going to be a big celebration of Riffs, because I think this next campaign might be close to delivering or whatever about that time. And we're also going to do some really fun ETU stuff as well. So we are going to hit up ChupacabraCon 2025 in style. So if you want to come meet the Pinnacle folks and hang out with the Riffs and the ETU folks, look into ChupacabraCon 2025. I think Civil Savage might be there. It's his local con too. So, I mean, that might be a downside for folks. But if you want to be as cool as the rest of us and come hang out with Ronnie, do meet us up in right. And now Kirk Wright's also going to ChupacabraCon. So, well, pack your bags, click on there, find out information about the ChupacabraCon. I think it's in May. It's kind of between San Marcos and Austin. And Ronnie, we love you too. So, folks, Aaron, big news. Riffs Europa. Tell us, what is in store for us in Riffs Europa?
Riffs Europa is probably the widest ranging of any of the books that we've done so far. We're covering a huge swath of Riffs World Book, the Riffs Atlas, ranging from Riffs England to the Russian frontier, and also scooping up the Phoenix Empire as well.
So, yeah, I mean, Europe just got a lot bigger, right? Because let me add so here's the follow page, folks. We already have a follow page up. The link just went into the chat in where you're watching. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitch. You can follow the oh, wow, there's already 60 of you. We just turned this live, and there's 59 of you. I guess you guys are watching. So this is just live minutes ago. This is some bullet points that Aaron put together for us. One, really love the art. We'll have some more art previews coming up here in a minute. But I mean, it's what British Isles, France, Africa, Neo-Rome, New German Republic, Russian frontier, Scandinavia. So it's a big chunk of the globe.
It's a very dense chunk of the globe, specifically. Geographically made and casts a big shadow over the rest of the globe in a lot of ways. Or another way of putting it, it's where a lot of things come together all at once. Riffs England and Africa are really early in the life span of Riffs, and so you see a lot of interesting growing pains and design decisions made. And then as the books go on, Trax, NGR, and so on and so forth, Warlords, Mystic Russia, etc., you can see Kevin's vision coming together, and really everything starting to overlap and creating this really dense chunk of the setting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what Riffs fans love is like gear and powers, and so there's a whole bunch of that getting thrown into this book. It's a pretty. I mean, I'm not lying if I say it's probably the biggest Riffs for Savage World source book we've done so far.
Yes, it is the biggest. That's partly because a lot of these books or all of these sections, I should say, regions, are incredibly near and dear to a lot of Riffs players, for good reason. They are definitely just if you go back and read them, they're just crackling with the juice. Kevin's really on fire when he knocked all those out. And yeah, we have to do that justice. We have to bring that through.
Nice. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, if you check back on our YouTube history, we did a Riffs Europa actual play preview that had some really cool edges. So I was still in draft form, so maybe stuff will change before the final book, but it was a pretty awesome live actual play that you guys can go check out on our YouTube channel. So don't miss that out either.
Yeah, no spoilers. Watch it. It ends with a bang.
Nice.
And a whimper.
Nice. So, Sean, welcome to the show, sir. What goodness can you share? What's going on with Palladium?
Well, on our side, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on. I'm working on lots of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles goodness, wrapping up a lot of work on that. But I will say that Kevin and I have been working with Aaron and the rest of the team very excitedly on approving and giving a lot of feedback on what we want to see in this Europa book, because with Neo Rome, with the Phoenix Empire, with Trax and NGR, and also with a lot of stuff that was in, for Big Rifts fans, the Trax 2 book. There was the Scandinavian different factions and alliances there. So there's and plus all the Russian stuff. But we wanted to take the chance to kind of break out a little more info for people to sink their teeth into about some of these new factions that haven't even seen full reveal, I guess you'd say, in the Palladium Rifts book. So I think that's going to be really exciting for a lot of people, and it's been a lot of work, a lot of hard work for the Savage Rifts team, but also Kevin and I have been trying to make sure that we've availed ourselves to shepherd that along as well, and make sure that everything matches our vision for Rifts.
Nice, most excellent, sir. Most excellent. Let's see. Oh, any other goodness? What's the next release from Palladium for Rifts? Is Yinsloth? Is Kevin finishing that up?
Kevin's finishing up Yinsloth right now, and with the Christmas surprise packages, we're doing those right now too. So if fans are into that, you check out our website, and you can get over $100 worth of books for $60. But if you're lucky, maybe a dragon sketch from Kevin. If you ask, we'll sign all the books. So, but yeah, as soon as Kevin finishes up Yinsloth Expeditions, then he's going to be finishing up his work on the Rifts Antarctica book. So we're really excited about that as well. I think we have virtually all the art done for that. We've got about 80% of the manuscript. Really another great one from our writer, Matthew Clements. So who's like one of our number one writers right now that we lean on a lot. So yeah, that's some of the big stuff coming from Palladium, but yeah, we're really excited about everything coming out for Savage Rifts as well. So I wanted
that's going to be a huge release.
Oh, it'll be big. It'll be big. But I don't think we'll be seeing that till next year. So got a little bit of time yet on that one. In the meantime, I would highly suggest all Rifts fans, Palladium or Pinnacle, or it's just all Rifts, right? So jump in on this. I think you're going to find a lot of great background material and expanded faction material for your Rifts games, because as a lot of fans may know, the Neo Rome, or may not know, to be clear, the Neo Rome faction is one that's been kind of brewing with me and Kevin, bringing that out, and so I think people are going to be really enjoy seeing what's going on with that. It's so Neo Rome, I guess. Aaron, do you want to talk about it? You want me to just jump in, or?
I mean, we can go back and forth. We can back and forth.
Okay. By the way, I want to say hi to Brian and Jody. Good to see all you guys, and you too, Chris. But yeah, with Neo Rome, one of the cool things is, if you're familiar with the South America book, Land of a Thousand Islands, one of the things that we updated in the lore there is the idea that the Megaversal Legion got its name from and was originally populated by the lost Roman legions. And when they gained their freedom from the Dakir, the Megaversal Legion settled part of South America, and so there's a lot of lore updates, because the original South America 1 and 2 books that came out for Palladium Rifts went up to about 102, 103 PA in the timeline, and now we're all the way up to 109 PA, and so there's a lot of stuff to catch up in there in Land of a Thousand Islands. And Rifts lore nerds and big fans should check that out, because those same Megaversal, we call them Megaversal Romans, then decided, hey, when they got their freedom, the vast majority of them decided they wanted to lead an expedition to see what had happened to Rome on Rifts Earth. And so a bunch of them and their friends, and who a lot of them were Americans that had been kidnapped by the Dakir and turned into Megaversal Legionnaires, they all went off to see what happened to Rome. So that was kind of a thing that we dropped in the Land of a Thousand Islands book that didn't have a resolution, right? But we knew where it was leading. And so since, what is that, 72 or 73 PA? So there's been about 30 or about 40 years of history that we're going to catch everyone else up on what happened since they left, and what they've established in the old Roman area. So
Yeah,
I'm super excited. So I'm gonna pop in only the few minutes we've been talking about it. We're already up to 94 followers in the campaign.
That's awesome.
So that's awesome. Thank you for calling. And like for folks, it's been a hot minute since we've had a Rifts Kickstarter. We did a backer kit reprint campaign recently, and then we did a game changer. But this will be we're going to throw in, if you guys are like Sean mentioned, Land of a Thousand Islands. If you guys didn't get in on that, we will have that as an add-on and a Rifts catch-up pledge level as well. So because we are bringing Rifts back to Kickstarter, we're a platform big enough for the aspirations for Rifts, right? So we are excited to be able to bring it back to Kickstarter. And so you guys, if you're just catching up on all the amazing things that we've been releasing for Rifts for Savage Worlds, this should be a big Kickstarter. So you take advantage of it, you get better shipping rates and all that good stuff. So, and then the best part is if you miss like the other campaigns, you get your PDFs like right after the campaign finishes, and so you can start playing right away. But the Aaron had the good judgment to send me some cool images to go with and kind of tease in the campaign. So either Sean or Aaron, we're going to jump in on this. The what do we see in the background of this one? What's going on here? This one looks pretty fun.
Oh yeah, this is the classic showdown that is the tent pole around which everything else that supports everything else going on in Europa. This is the NGR's Ultimax robot vehicle grappling with an enormous gargoyle. I think it's probably a gargoyle lord just based on stature.
Nice.
And,
yeah, the question did get asked in chat. So yes, check that box. We are doing NGR and gargoyles.
And that's that's a Dynamax. I know you know this.
Dynamax. My brain's a little scrambled. It's been a long work day.
It's okay. That's okay. But no, it's a great. There's some great art for this book. By the way, we've already approved a big chunk of the art already, and it looks fantastic. So, just kudos to the team, the art team, and the writing team for putting this all together.
Yeah.
I love this piece. Is that a Splugworth? Is that what's in the foreground?
That's a Splugworth slaver.
Yes.
The vile monstrous peddlers of flesh, overlooking the sale of their wares in a souk in North Africa in the Phoenix Empire.
Oh, so good, so good.
A dirty, ugly place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This one's amazing. Oh, I didn't tag who the artist is on this one, but oh my god, this needs to be like a poster on a wall. Look, this piece is great.
Yeah, that's a temporal raider ruining some druids' days. As he pops out of the rift.
So go ahead.
All you.
Well, I was going to say, besides the New German Republic versus the Gargoyle Empire, which, as Aaron said, that is the tent pole of what's going on, right? Between for the major conflict is battling over the ruins of Europe and what remains of Europe since the Cataclysm. But in the UK, you've got the Druids. You also have temporal raiders and their temporal warriors and wizards, apprentices that they teach time magic to. So the cool thing is this book also features temporal magic. So I think if you haven't heard of it, it's awesome. It's as cool as it sounds. And the team's really done a great job at taking. I think everyone's going to be really excited to see this. How they took the temporal magic and the druidic magic and brought this stuff into the Savage World system in a way that I think is very unique. And true to the original Rifts concepts and designs, and all the design goals and themes.
And then, what are Millennium Trees for those of us who because they're in the book, right?
Yeah. Millennium Trees are in the book. They are the nature of Millennium Trees is actually under debate, but they're basically enormous skyscraper-sized trees that that have an uncanny intelligence and brim with magical power. They only sprout where ley lines cross in a nexus. They provide food and shelter and control the weather for miles around. They're one part like a safe haven, but they're also an all-you-can-eat buffet for the particularly desperate and/or powerful monster.
Yeah, and one of the cool things is that they will recognize heroes of good heart and renown, and or maybe even not renown, right? And they'll feed people, but they'll also drop off like staves and wands and leaves that you could wear as armor. So they're pretty fantastic and really neat.
Yeah, JM says that they're trees born in the mid to late 80s who can't afford to buy a home at the current time. So that's. Oh, JM, love to see you, buddy.
Can't buy a home, become a home for someone else.
Right. And I mean, it's not so people are really excited about Africa. There have been multiple comments. We've kind of mentioned a little bit of the fun stuff going on in Africa, but there's good Africa content. So what's going on in this photo, and what goodness can we see on the south of the Mediterranean in this book?
The big thing with Africa, and specifically like the original World Book 4, is very focused on telling a specific story involving the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Deadlands fans may be familiar with them in a more classical context, but in the Rifts context, they're over the top and heavy metal. Phoenix Empire is the polity that that brings them over to Earth and is trying to get them together. And like here in this piece of art, we've got Pharaoh Rama Set, the diabolical mastermind who is behind all of it. At the time of the I'm not going to get too deep into spoilers about him and his agendas, but he's a necromancer of great renown, and if you also notice, he's got mysterious tattoos on his body. Here he is raising an army of the dead to devour our hapless viewer, whoever they are.
Nice. I approve. And then who's this handsome fellow, and what is he doing?
That's another gargoyle tearing the head off of a Jaeger.
So good. So good. And then where's it taking place?
This is another UK shot. That is a knight astride their horse with a plasma sword, blasting rampant fairies with a goblin riding behind him, or holding on for dear life, I should say.
So good. Awesome. And then who's this stern step-looking fellow?
That right there is a Cossack. One of the master horsemen of the Great Steppe, here in the aftermath of a battle between Sovietsky warlord forces.
So good. I do appreciate Rampant Fairies is new prog rock band name. And so you got one more. Oh, we got one more. We got dragons, folks.
Oh, that's so cool.
So this is the image that has been burned in my mind since we got it back, of like, what is Rifts like, especially Europa? Like this image.
This is Europa. Yeah.
This is Europa. This is a scene from the remnants of Poland, called the Kingdom of Tarnów. That is a giant Missilier mecha body tackling a dragon. As peasants flee.
The hills are alive with the sound of yet another species invading Poland, is what I hear. John, who was in my game, my sci-fi game at this last weekend at GameHole, great player, by the way, John. And this is something I really do need to commend the art team on and Palladium on, is the number of pieces that do speak back to the classic Palladium art, and just one allowing our artists to recreate and pay homage to the original Rifts art, and then just kind of bringing some of the pieces into kind of color. So well done. The fans are appreciating that that kind of high standard for art that Palladium has been carried over to the Rifts for Savage Worlds line. So worth mentioning. Kudos, folks. And look who just showed up, Mrs. Hahncluster. Actually, we're going to be playing tomorrow in a Hahncluster game. First time I get to play it, so that should be a lot of fun too. So yeah,
good.
folks, we're really excited. I think we have a date, Art, don't we? It's coming in November. It's going to be a Tuesday in November, and
12th.
so this is 12th. Thank you, Jody.
Same.
So it's coming up here pretty quick. But the now they're already over 100 followers. I mean, I can't believe that there's like you guys are ravenous for this campaign, and we are very excited to bring it to you. So yeah, folks, last call for questions on Rifts Europa or any of the Rifts line for Sean and Aaron. Anything Deadlands for Brian? Anything peg related for Jody, or just
Oh no, we lost a Landauer.
No. A wild Landauer disappeared.
Oh my god! So I wonder, like, my last thing was like, oh, we'll take questions from everybody, and you can tell me how handsome I look. Apparently, my camera did not appreciate my vanity on that one, and said, "No, f you are not handsome, sir. Camera off." So anyway, yeah, last call for questions, folks. Anything on Rifts? Anything on Deadlands? We've got 7 minutes left on the campaign, but super excited to be able to bring you guys another Rifts campaign. It's going to be the first on Kickstarter in several years, and. Giant sturgeon for Deadlands. Yes, sir. Actually, I could probably pull up a picture right now.
Nope. Don't give away all the spoilers, but I tell you what, maybe while you're looking for the art, I just want to take a minute to say thank you to Aaron. Those are some huge shoes that you had to fill when Sean went over and left Pinnacle to go. Oh, I don't know, go help Kevin run Palladium. So. To both of you, thank you for bringing Rifts to the point that it is, because we have a huge community of wildcards here who love playing in it. And I've played in some fantastic games, just talked to some people who are really putting the fanatical and fan, it's so much fun to hear their stories. And it's only possible because of the hard work of you two. And thank you, Aaron. You're doing great. And thank you, Sean, for all that you've done.
Well, thank you, Jody. But I know it's my pleasure, and I know Aaron's doing a great job. It's been great working with him. So we're really happy to make sure, Rifts keeps coming out for everybody on the Savage World side, and we keep. I'm doing my best to keep building the machine over here at Palladium and keep the fun coming. So
yeah. You wanted giant fish? I give you giant fish. So, fish trucker man.
We actually have stats.
That's awesome.
Stats for giant salmon.
I mean, when you talk about the one that got away, how big was it, really?
I mean, if it has stats, you can kill it.
Yeah. If it doesn't kill you first. Just be careful when you go fishing in in Deadlands.
Nice. Interesting. Any plan to introduce Disavowed to Savage Rifts?
I have a laundry list of things I want to bring forward into Savage Rifts. Disavowed are on the docket, even if all I have to go on is the old store entry. It's just enough kindling. You can light a fire with it.
Nice.
We can't put it all though, because like Rifts is it's just too much, right? Because that's why there are all those source books out there, and we're trying to, I guess, give a taste of it, and just enough for you to run with it here, right? So,
right,
yeah. And why is it hell on earth, huh? Why is it hell on earth?
Locks. That's pretty good.
Nice.
That's just in case anyone wasn't sure.
I mean, I don't think anybody would be confused that you would actually name yourself Henry Jones Jr. If there is anybody who is a pulp action hero of the archaeological kind, it's you, Brian. So
yeah.
No, I mean okay. So then, I mean, here's a great question. We hope next year. So a lot of questions mark. And in fact, we should have roped in Shane before he went off to his spooky whatever he's doing tonight. But it is currently on the lineup for next year. So early next year, I think quarter something, cough, maybe first half next year. But we're still in planning phases. So no promises. But we did demonstrate, I think, over 60 games of it at Gen Con. Like, oh my God, the demo schedule for it was amazing. So it is close enough for us to demo at Gen Con this last August. So yes, it is on the way. And right, we need some time for you guys to have some wallet regenerative things. And looks like a lot of Hell on Earth love in the thing tonight. You can't say when that's going to be next, but we have some really cool plans. I guess we'll probably do like a year-end review. Maybe we'll have a year-end review stream. Then we'll talk about some of the other cool stuff we're doing. But we're figuring out ways of bringing you guys more content than we've ever had before, with kind of trying to slow down the Kickstarter train a little bit. So we've got some new exciting things, maybe called showcases. We'll see. And that's all I can say about that before Jody smacks me from across the country Jody dropped a really good spoiler in the conversation tonight, so I'll let you guys ponder what that might be. And don't forget Kevin's grab bags. Sean, you want to give us we got 35 seconds to give you grab bag speech on Sean before we'll count down.
www.palladiumbooks.com. Again, you can write your wish list of the stuff you want, or something you want maybe your friends want, or something like that, and then you can get $100 or more worth of stuff for $60 plus shipping. So check it out. Also, right now, if you go to backerkit.com, you can also still pre-order the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness Redux Edition books. And the dice set and GM screen. And right now, they're still the crowdfunding level, which is cheaper price range. So they're going to go up when they go to full retail, but you can still get all the stuff shipped to you when those things arrive. And yeah, so those are the two things I have to plug and say, jump on. Yeah, Santa Kevin, great. People love it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is a not to be missed opportunity, and so guys, it's gonna be a big fourth quarter for Riffs and Riffs for Savage World stuff, because if the interest keeps up, we're gonna knock it out of the park on this Riffs Europa Kickstarter, because one, you're hungry for it, two, oh my God, you guys have put so much content into this, a lot of great art, a lot of great content, so it's a beefy, it's over 200 pages, and then guys, 2,000 backers, 212 and change on the campaign. 20 seconds ago. Thank you for making yet another Deadlands Kickstarter campaign amazing. Again, this is the this version of Deadlands, Weird West. We started in the Helm High Plains. This is Abominable Northwest. We're heading to the Great Maze next. So we're kind of going around the country doing some local splat books with a lot of great content and adventures and props and goodness. So, oh my God, 0 seconds ago. There's the fireworks.
Yay.
Thank you. Done. Cha-ching. We get to rest for about 10 minutes. And then we'll be off to give you guys your kind of. So yeah, if it's your first time on Kickstarters, remember we need about a month before Kickstarter finalizes they'll try to charge your cards now, and then they give you some time for all the cards that bounce. Hopefully you guys don't bounce the cards. But yeah, stick around for Savage Universe, because in 2 minutes we're going to stop this stream and we're going to go to the Savage Universe stream, where J.M. DeFogie is going to be introducing some awesome, fun Savage Worlds licensees to you guys. So stick around on all the channels, twitch.tv/pegging. And if you're in the other locations, you should get a notice that we are going live. Give us another 2 minutes, but we're going to pop off now because JM needs to get on for the Savage Universe stream. So I'm going to play a little Deadlands video, and we're going to call it a day. Thank you, folks.
We play Savage Worlds, whether we're at the table or over the internet. In our role-playing game, fantasy is just the beginning. From the Wild West to the depths of outer space and beyond. Anytime, any place. They're all Savage Worlds.
Welcome to the Weird West. Will you survive the frightening frontier or fill a grave on Boot Hill? Grab your 6 guns and enter the Deadlands.